So we're going to start out with some really great testimonials because I can't wait. First of all, this is from Janet. Janet has a little pup named Sophie and another pup named Allie, and they have been on our product for at least a year now. And I got this great testimonial from her today. Hi, Diana. I have good news. And there's happy dance pictures. Sophia's last blood test came back great. This is awesome. I still want to give her what you're suggesting I continue with because she is a senior. But thank you. Allie is doing well also. She's 15 and a half now. Thank you again for all your help. You know, we get something like this from one of the listeners and it just makes our hearts sing. This is really good. I have a testimonial I'd like to share about Inforce. Inforce is our human product. Today, my friend and I went to Findlay to see our son at the University Horse Barn. As any time previously I have gone there, I will sneeze constantly and my chest will tighten as soon as I walk into the barn. I have been so miserable. I have to stay out in the parking lot. Well, today I walked in and I had no reaction at all, not one sneeze. I felt great. I've been taking the Inforce for about 4 months. It was wonderful. This isn't why I started taking it, but I have seen so many things happen differently in my body. And I'm so excited now because I can go and visit the horses without sneezing and having my chest tighten. I love that. The immune system is amazing. And this one is really fun. Oh, this is actually really cute. This came from Patty. Patty wanted to let me know. SOS in her email. My 60-pound lab consumed a half a jar of your body balm. I used the pet balm on her nose. I used the body balm, which was mine, not his. I left the room, or hers, and to get into the shower. And when I came back, she had somehow opened the jar and ate the entire jar. And do I need to be worried? Well, first of all, no, it's all natural. And that's some of the things I love about what we do. Hemp oil, shea butter, arrowroot, things that are not going to hurt. She might have a little diarrhea because she ate the whole jar, but I just think it's pretty funny that for some reason she really liked it and decided to eat the whole jar of it. And the fact that she got the jar open is pretty impressive too. The next one is about Cooper. Oh my gosh, Cooper. Hello, this is from Liz. Good day to you. I just wanted to update you on Cooper. Cooper was really having problems. Cooper could hardly walk. Cooper was like having these little almost seizure-like things happening. And she was quite worried. So she said, Diana, just wanted to update you on Cooper. He's been on mushrooms now for 4 weeks. Now, Cooper is a pretty big dog. So we've been having him on the MushPonies. He's doing great. He's eating, drinking, and going to the bathroom regularly once again. We were having problems with Cooper having all kinds of urinary tract issues in the house. He isn't back to 100% yet. He still wobbles a little bit when he gets up, but then once he's going, he's pretty good. It's awesome to see him come greet me at the door when I come home, and even better to see him trying to play with his toys. He comes into my bedroom in the mornings now. He hasn't done that forever. What an improvement. Thank you for introducing me to this product. I'm believing with all of this together, we can make an awesome improvement in this pup. Don't you just love that? I mean, yeah. Okay, this is a human testimonial, and then we're going to move to Kristen. She's got a couple too. We had heard about a gentleman who had prostate cancer, 4B, and he was not doing well. He was having a hard time sleeping. He was in excruciating pain, and his daughter called him and said, look, I saw these mushroom ladies, and I don't know, maybe they can help. And so anyhow, we got this wonderful testimonial. He's been on the Inforce product now for about 4 weeks. And she said, my dad just called me and said he's been taking the mushrooms now 4 weeks. He is actually sleeping. Before he couldn't sleep through the night. He can walk without shuffling, and his pain is down, almost non-existent. He isn't tired anymore. He wants to know how to order 20 to 100 bottles. I can't thank you enough for telling me about these mushrooms and being on these shows and telling everyone about what you're doing. You might have just saved my dad's life. this is the kind of stuff that Kristen and I live for, and this is why we do what we do. Anyhow, I mean, I can go on all day. I'm going to go into this last one. Actually, I'm going to go into another one. I might have already shared this, but it was so important that I think we should. All that we're doing is helping people see that there are other ways to do things. This mushroom is not magic. It is just a whole food. And Kristen's going to talk a little bit more about the strain and how it works. But I've been in this business now for a little over 7 years. And about 7 years ago, there was a little dog walking by my house. And I went out to say hello because I can't resist a dog. And the little puppy's name was Flash, and he was 13 years old. And I asked the owner if he could just hold on for a second. I ran back into the house, and I got Flash some of our super sauce. And I took it out, and I said, look, Flash is 13. A lot of things happen at 13 with a dog. After 10, they have a 50% chance of getting cancer. And every year it goes up exponentially. We're losing our animals to cancer at huge rates. So I wanted little Flash to have this. The man was very sweet and said, thank you, but I can't afford this. And, I said, no, it's okay. I'm going to give this to Flash. And if you bring Flash here every month, here's my phone number. You text me before you bring Flash. I will give Flash some every month. I'm thinking he's a dachshund. He's 13. Flash only has a few more good years left, right? Well, 7 years. 7 years. Flash came to my house every month to pick up his super sauce. And I was glad to be able to give it to him. This last Christmas, Flash came by our house in a little stroller because he wasn't walking very much anymore. And they picked him up. They took him out of the stroller, and he waddled. I have it on video up to my front door. And of course, they had texted me that he was coming, and I gave the owner his super sauce. We went on a mushroom tour for 2 months. We were gone for 2 months, and I made arrangements for this to be given to Flash every month. And I got a call from the owner, Gary is his name, and he wanted to know if I could FaceTime with Flash because Flash was not doing well, and they thought Flash had just turned 20, and they thought maybe Flash was on his last moments of life. And I talked to Flash and told me he was a good boy, and it was terrible. I was crying. It was awful. And then I got off the phone. Flash passed away a few minutes later. I got off the phone, and all I could think of is, oh my goodness, the fact that they wanted me to be a part of his last moments made me feel like I had made a difference. Also, the fact that for 7 years, we were able to give Flash something that helped, something that just gave his little body some extra oomph, and that he was able to be there for 7 more years. This is why we do what we do. This affiliate program has warmed my heart, has given me memories that I can't even tell you about. And I'm going to turn it over to Kristen. She's got some great testimonials today.
I do. Thank you, Diana. And it never gets old. That's why I love Testimonial Tuesday because it's so much fun just sharing with everybody what God's been doing through this incredible mushroom and what it's doing for so many animals, dogs, cats, horses, and even people. But I wanted to show you this horse here. He is absolutely beautiful. He has a lot of inflammation in his legs and has had a very hard time walking, very difficult for him to even walk at all. And he's been taking the MushPonies now for 2 weeks. He takes 3 MushPonies a day, which is fun for him because he just thinks he's getting a treat. But watch this video that she sent me after just 2 weeks. This is after 2 weeks. Watch him go. He's running. He's playing again. So he's not only walking, but he's actually zipping around the pen and playing and getting back to his old self. And so it's so encouraging to see that. I also wanted to show you this gentleman, Keith, who has been through a journey for several years now. For over 4 years, he's had psoriasis, and it started pretty mild. And then 2 years ago, he had a stomach surgery, and it really started flaring up to the point where he needed a lot. He just started trying creams and lotions and supplements and everything that he could get his hands on. And I don't know if you know what psoriasis is, but it's really uncomfortable, can be very painful, and it covers your body. Well, in February, it got very aggressive and covered over 90% of his body. So Diana has the pictures of his arms and his torso from the psoriasis and how much of his body it was covering and how severe it was. And he, by the grace of God, he heard about this mushroom, and just something inside of him, even though he'd spent thousands and thousands of dollars on everything else, something inside of him just said, you know what, the answer is your immune system. And he decided to give it a try. And he started taking 6 Inforce a day. He's about 150 pounds. So it's 2 capsules for every 50 pounds he was taking. And this is after 30 days of taking 6 Inforce a day. Look how dramatically it cleared up. So we've seen, autoimmune responses that cause eczema and psoriasis and just, different rashes and those types of things. I personally have never seen anything that severe. And so we're so grateful that he's feeling better. He's had this relief that he hasn't had in several years. He has confidence now to go outside and to be social. He was feeling really down, getting pretty depressed about it, because I'm sure you can tell it takes a toll not only on your body, but it also takes a toll on you mentally and emotionally as well. So we're just so grateful what God's doing. And like Diana said, 8 years ago, when I found out my friend Simon's mom was dealing with a stage 4 condition in her lungs and treated at Sloan Kettering when she was told there's nothing more that they could do. And when her nephew recommended this pure and potent strain of mushroom, that they extracted it in a different way and said, hey, why don't you give these Inforce capsules a try? And, after 30 days, she was feeling better. After 2 months, she felt like nothing was wrong. And 4 months later, even though they had told her she only had a couple weeks left, she went back to Sloan Kettering and they could find no evidence, no bad cells in her body. And so when I heard about that, and then my own friends, Kurt and Gail, their dog Zenta had a really bad autoimmune condition where her paw pads were peeling off and her eyes were white and cloudy. She had fur coming out in clumps, and she was in so much pain that she couldn't even walk anymore. And, we had asked them if they'd heard of this Coriolus Versicolor mushroom and maybe thought that there's a lot of studies that have been done on the autoimmune response and how this mushroom can help. And so we started giving her these little dog biscuits called Mushpuppies. And within 30 days, within 4 days, she jumped on the couch, which she hadn't done in years. But within 30 days, she's walking again. Her eyes are cleared up. Her fur is growing back. Her paw pads are growing back. About 6 months later, all these growths that she had up and down her ribs were gone. And she lived another 4.5 years, even though at that time the vet had recommended to put her down because she was almost 15 and they just felt like she wasn't ready. Well, 4.5 years later, when she was almost 20, it was finally her time to go. So it's so heartwarming what we're experiencing, and what we're experiencing really matches up with what the studies have shown and what the research shows about how this mushroom helps to support the immune system. And the immune system is fully equipped to repair, rebuild, regenerate, renew, regulate, rebalance everything that's happening inside of the body. So I'd love to say that we have like some special formulation that we concocted, but really this is not a formula. It's just a discovery that God has given us and put into our hands. And we just want to be good stewards of it and be a voice for those that don't have one. And we're so grateful that we're a part of what's been happening.
Thank you, Kristen. That story about Keith, I can only imagine what life is like when you are covered from head to toe with something that's severe. I can't imagine the change that this has done. Someone is asking about edema. The immune system is actually capable of doing just about everything. If something's not right in your body and we get our immune system corrected and we give it the support that it needs, everything else can just start falling into place. So yes, I would recommend the basic Inforce in the green bottle, the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom. And Kristen and I have talked about this a lot. Our strain is very potent and it's also proprietary. I have a quick story about Harold. Harold has prostate cancer. Harold started taking our product about 3 or 4 years ago and was doing really, really well. His numbers had fallen into line. And this is what I love about what we do, that we actually have irrefutable numbers that show progress, numbers that show what's happening. And everything was looking great. Well, in December, I started noticing that he wasn't ordering. And I thought, he was in his 90s. I thought, I hope we haven't lost Harold. And I was going to reach out and call, and the life got in the way. And then I ran into his wife and said, how's Harold? And she goes, oh, Harold's doing okay. We got some bad news. And I said, well, what's going on? And she goes, well, his PSA numbers are out of whack. And I'm like, well, I've noticed that Harold hasn't been ordering. And she goes, oh, he found turkey tail at Walmart or box store somewhere. And just because it was easier, he bought it. And, I kind of was like, guys, his numbers were doing so well for so long. And then you go with something that we don't know if it's the same strain. We don't know how it's been harvested. We know that ours is harvested in the mycelium state. We know that ours is harvested like down in the umbilical state when it's the most potent. We know that we're not harvesting it when it's fully fruited and the least expensive to harvest and the biggest bulk that you can get. And I kind of wanted to say, how's that working for you, that you might have saved a little bit of money, but now his PSA numbers are off the charts and this isn't good. And we had a little bit of that conversation. They went back on and they reordered. He's going to be going in for testing next month. So we'll see if his numbers started coming down, and that would be a really great story. Kristen, do you want to take this one? What do you use for fatty liver?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually use a combination. Our core mushroom is the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom. We have a saying, every pet, every person, every day should at least be taking the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, because your immune system is the most important system in your whole body. It's what helps everything else to run as smoothly as possible. So I recommend taking at least 1 capsule for every 50 pounds a day of the Inforce, which is the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom. When you're dealing with something that you're concerned about, the great thing about this mushroom is it's no different from eating a mushroom on a salad. You can't get addicted. You can't overdose. It doesn't interact with any medications or any treatments, and there are no side effects. So even if you are having some concerns, you could actually take extra. There's not a limit to how much you can take if it's something that's within your means. So I might even double that and take 2 capsules every day for every 50 pounds daily. And then to complement that, I would also add the maitake mushroom, which is very helpful for liver support. It's also great for pancreatic support. We have a product called Inforce Restore. We use a very pure and potent strain of the maitake mushroom, and you only need 1 tablet for every 50 pounds of that. You don't want to take much more than that. It's not like the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom. There's a limited amount that you can take because it's very, very strong. But those two together should really give your liver the support that it needs to start regenerating and cleaning itself up.
So a couple people have texted me while we were on and asked me to share my cancer story. I guess there's a gal that's watching right now whose family member has just been diagnosed. 2020, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. It was during pandemic. I had nothing in my toolbox except prayer and this mushroom. I had known about this mushroom for a while. I had been working with it with animals, but I really hadn't, physically started taking it myself. I think that's a decision I may regret for the rest of my life, but at the end of the day, I'm really good. I had to wait in a waiting line to be operated on because it was during pandemic. I had a tumor that could explode in my body. And all that I had was this product, the Inforce. I took 10 a day. As Kristen said, normal for me would have been 3, but I tripled up because A, I was scared. B, I had nothing else. And I knew that I couldn't take too much. I always caution when I'm talking to people about taking more is that I understand sometimes it's a little bit of a financial burden, but if your means allow, take more. I'd rather see someone take less than not take any. But at the same point, so I was taking 10 a day. 30 days later, I got a call that I had been approved for surgery. I went in for my pre-op work, And I got a call a few hours later that they wanted to do a video conference call with me immediately from the oncology department. And my oncologist was sitting there with a great big smile on his face. And he said, "What are you doing, Diana?" And I thought that was the most bizarre question in the world. "What do you mean, what am I doing?" "I'm trying to stay alive. I'm waiting for surgery." And he said, "No, you're in remission. What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm taking the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom." He said, "I don't know anything about it. Send me everything you have." And I appreciated that he at least wanted to get all the information. But it's sad that someone in the oncology business, a doctor of oncology, doesn't know about this. In Japan, it is an approved form of the regimen of the big C. It's also classified as a medication in Japan. I went in for surgery, had the tumor removed. They felt that I should do chemotherapy because I had a very aggressive cancer. And everything I had read, there's 400 medical studies on this mushroom. Everything I had read about this mushroom actually complementing chemotherapy treatment, it just seemed like a win-win for me. So during chemotherapy, I continued on 10 a day. During that time, I did not get sick. I did not throw up. I did not lose my hair. Yes, I had some bad days, but 6 months of hard chemotherapy when it was all said and done, and I came out of it, and they did all of the gamut of testing on my body. What we found out is not only was I still in remission, I was in remission. I was in remission after 30 days. I was still in remission 1 year later. All of my numbers had improved. My bone density had improved. Go figure. Chemotherapy destroys your bone density. But here's what I know. I know that my body, my immune system was given the support that it needed to do the job that it needed to do so that my body could repair, replenish, rebuild, rejuvenate while it was literally being destroyed. I'm over 5 years now cancer-free, and I'm very, very excited about it. Again, we're not medical professionals. We're not veterinarians. We're just people who know about something that we're seeing some incredible results from.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And like Diana said, we're not medical professionals, and so we cannot give you any medicinal advice or recommend anything like that. I'm certified in mycology, so I can tell you what I've learned about mushrooms and the benefits of mushrooms and how those impact the body. But at the end of the day, I think now more than ever, we have to be asking for discernment in the decisions that we're making, because there are so many voices trying to get our attention and so many different authorities and people telling us we need to do this and we need to do that. And not all of it's beneficial for us. Some of it is, but not all of it's beneficial for us. So I think, that's something that you need to weigh the costs, weigh the options, discuss it with your doctor or a holistic doctor if you like. But at the end of the day, you kind of just have to follow your gut and your intuition and what that's telling you. And we hear that all the time. People say, well, I wasn't going to stay on and listen, but something inside of me just told me to stay, and something just told me to listen. And now they've had a complete turnaround, and their life has truly changed because they stayed and they listened and they had the courage to try something new, right? They just got inspired and decided to try something new. Are you going to add something, Diana?
Yeah, someone had just asked about tea and Hashimoto's. We'll talk about Hashimoto's in a second. So these Inforce is literally just a capsule that you can open. And when I was taking 10 a day, I hate to take pills. I hate taking pills. My husband opened them every single morning. We put half of them in the coffee. I think I invented mushroom coffee 5 years ago. But then at night he would make a little tea for me with some lemon, and it was really amazing. So yeah, I also have a guy who puts this in his stir fry every single night. So yeah, some people have gotten pretty creative. We've had little kids whose grandparents have put this in their little hot milk smoothie at night, and the kids have woke up. Kids who were having all kinds of congestion have woke up congestion free. Yeah, and so yeah, you can make your own. And Kristen, do you want to take the question on Hashimoto's?
Yeah, there are several studies that have been done on autoimmune markers and autoimmune conditions, and the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, if you'd like, you can literally just search them and find access to several of them. Many have been published in the National Library of Medicine. I myself had an autoimmune marker and just very high inflammation in my body before I started taking the Inforce capsules, which 5.5 months later, after taking 6 of those capsules a day, when I got my blood work redone, the autoimmune marker was gone. And my inflammation levels, which were 522, were back below 1. So, we're hearing all different types of reports with Hashimoto's and lupus and just fibromyalgia, all different types of things that people are experiencing. And the thing with this mushroom, this Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, is it's not a cure for anything. Like it doesn't mitigate or treat anything, really. It is truly just a whole food that feeds the immune system, and it's up to the immune system to do what needs to be done in the body. So it's a way for us to get the immune system that extra support so it can work to function optimally. And then that's what goes in and finds its way home and course corrects what's happening inside of the body. So we have seen very positive results with that. Of course, there are no guarantees, but we're really confident to give it a try. We do have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. We're not trying to put anybody on the hook, or, like Diana said, put anyone in a compromising position. We truly just want to help and, offer something that we've seen make a difference in a lot of lives, some cases even saving some lives. So, you never know until you try. And I really encourage you to give it a try. And I saw someone also asking a little bit earlier about she was dealing with a condition in her breast as well as rheumatoid arthritis. And again, there are a lot of studies done on anti-inflammatory properties of the Coriolus versicolor mushroom and how it can be really helpful. I have a friend myself who, with rheumatoid arthritis, she was getting IVs, an IV treatment every 6 weeks. And now it's been 2 years. She got fired by her RA doctor because he's like, there's no reason for me to even see you anymore because her own immune system has handled it. So she's had no flare-ups or anything for 2 years now from taking the Inforce. And she just takes the green bottle that Diana showed you, which is the least expensive one. Like, it doesn't have to be expensive. And it can really help with a lot of that inflammation. Graves' disease, the same as the Hashimoto's, anything that's autoimmune or anything like that. Again, you could look up the autoimmune response and the studies that have been done on the Coriolus versicolor mushroom and those if you want to see some more research to back up what we're experiencing. And like I said earlier, what we're seeing with people and with animals directly correlates with what all these researchers have been finding for almost 30 years now. There's hundreds of published studies. So give it a try. Please keep us updated. If you have more questions on how much you should take or if you should take any complementary mushrooms with it, it's really important if you're taking mushrooms, especially if you're doing a blend. It's popular right now to get like 12 in one, why take one mushroom when you could take 12 at the same time? And mushrooms have purposes and they have intentions. And unfortunately, not all mushrooms play well together. Some can actually neutralize each other's effects. And because they do different things. And so it could be counterproductive to take too many mushrooms at the same time. So number one, make sure you're taking mushrooms that play well together, that will work together in a synergy. And number two, if you are taking mushroom supplements, please make sure they're using a pure strain. This is very important because not all the brands and manufacturers are testing for purity. And that's something that we take very seriously. We have every single batch tested for purity to make sure that it's the best quality that we can put into the body, which again is why we're having the experiences that were happening. And we see reoccurring UTIs, ear infections, eye infections, all different types of infections that you try to manage but never seem to go away. They just keep coming back and coming back. The immune system is great at fighting infections, but it's so compromised and it's so weak, or maybe it's doing other things in the body and it's overwhelmed. So it's not working to its full potential. So my friend Mary had reoccurring UTIs. She started taking the Inforce capsules and she has not had a UTI since. And it's because her body just needed that extra food. It needed that extra support to be able to fight those infections on top of everything else that it's doing every day for our bodies as well. So I'm really confident. Again, just the green bottle, give it a try. At the beginning, I recommend 2 capsules for every 50 pounds a day. And then once you get the UTIs under control, then you can just go down to the normal suggested amount, which is just 1 capsule for every 50 pounds a day.
And, someone is asking on here about preventative treatment. And oh my gosh, yes, Let's be proactive instead of reactive. Let's get our immune systems healthy before we have a problem. I wonder every day if I had started to take this before what happened to me, if maybe my story would be different. I don't know. And yes, it's okay to give your 80-pound dog some of this. No problem at all. Put it on his food. And if you have an 80-pound dog, I would certainly be ordering the MushPonies. It's going to be much more cost effective, $15 or so a month. Cut them in half. It's going to be a lot more cost effective. And then I'm going to just end with our last thing. We have 4th of July coming. And all of you, your poor little babies are going to be terrified. The fireworks. We also have lots of storms all over the country. It is really important that we calm these pups down. So I'd like to just tell you a little bit about our chill doggies. And I love this product because it does what it says. It just chills the doggy. That's all it does. It chills the doggy. And when we have dogs that are afraid of fireworks, and it's the worst time in the world for them because their ears are so sensitive. And it is also the biggest day for runaway dogs, and the shelters are filled with runaways because the dogs just run. They don't know what else to do. They just want to get away. But if you can chill your doggy before the fireworks, you're going to be able to definitely help them out a little bit. Imagine being so afraid that all you want to do is run. So again, the Chill Doggy is an amazing product. It actually has catnip in it. Who knew catnip would help calm our dog down? And the lion's mane mushroom, which we know is good for cognitive issues, is also good for our pups. This is good for anxiety. It's good for fear. It's good for separation issues, traveling. My dog throws up whenever we get in the car. I give him a little bit of Chill Doggies. It chills the doggy, and we don't have throw up in the car. At least my pup waited until I opened a bag and threw up in the bag, which I think was pretty amazing that he does that. But the Chill Doggies are amazing. Please, let's get these in your hands so that you have them. I know Trina, her dog Charlie, hates the windstorms, and ever since he's had the Chill Doggies, the windstorms don't bother him as much. So again, thunder, lightning, anxiety, aggression, all of these things can really be helped when you just chill the doggy.